Cierra Ortega has been removed from Love Island, USA for racial slur.
Someone posted a screenshot of them actually correcting Cierra and messaging her on Instagram to let her know that the word she used is a slur, and the way she responded lacks responsibility. I'm assuming this is in response to her post when she was getting Botox. So someone responded to her story being like, "Ooh girl, blank, it's so derogatory." And then in the screenshot, it says that that word is a slur for Chinese restaurant, Chinese food, or Chinese people. And then Cierra responds, "Oh man, thankfully that's not how I used it." And that's all she says. "Oh man, thank God that's not how I used it" is just crazy to me because one, you were just called out for saying a slur. Where is the apology? Two, that is how you used it. You didn't use it to refer to Chinese restaurant or Chinese food. You used it to refer to a stereotype of Asian people and their physical features. Did you not?
As an Asian American who's also a nurse, one time a patient told me I could blindfold you with my shoelace. And I'll be honest, that hurt a lot and it was honestly really clever, but other times patients would just call me just random SLURS. And anytime you say these horrible things like what Cierra did on her IGS, I'd be very vulnerable right now. It really does hurt.
I'm gonna need Love Island to boot Cierra off the island. Not only has she never been there for love, she's there for clout. 2, she's a mean girl, and 3, she's a racist.
Hey, good morning, Cierra. You're probably not gonna be chinking too much about this, but you will have to go. Yeah, I'm afraid we're switching you out. Call it a Chinese fire drill.
Do you understand how racist some of these people have to be to know these slurs? I didn't even know that that was a slur. How do you know these things?
Hi, quick little PSA. When Cierra eventually comes online to apologize, if you are not Asian, it is not your apology to accept.
What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing amazing. Thank you so much for clicking on this episode. I really do appreciate your love and support on this channel. So on our today's episode, I'm sure you all have heard of this show called the Love Island that most of you or most people actually do watch. So I just happened to come across a video of people talking about the lady by the name Cierra Ortega, who is 25 years old. And the reason is that she had to leave the villa on July 6th. And the reason is that Cierra Ortega, a 25-year-old bombshell contestant on Love Island USA Season 7, was removed from the villa on July 6th following the resurfacing of past social media posts in which she used a racial slur targeting the Asian community. And the crazy part about this is that even like these posts are like past posts, people that actually do follow her and watch her from the Asian community had already told her not to use the word again, not to use the C word, but she still went on ahead and used the word, even after people warning her and telling her that it's a racial slur towards the Asian or targeting the Asian community. And I don't know if these people, when you're getting into such shows, they get to go through your background, they get to do a background check and get to know about you. But now she's no longer in the villa, and this happened since 2015. She was warned about this, and later when the post actually resurfaced, she had to be removed from the show. Some people are asking, like, was this a plan for this show to sell their show to people and just create drama for the show? Or is it that the people that actually pick these contestants, they don't do a background check? I don't know what you all think, but I want us to watch these videos together, guys. Every clip and every stitch that you'll be seeing on our today's episode, credits belongs to the original creators of these videos that you're seeing on your screens. If you're coming across this channel for the first time, my name is Gracie D. Consider subscribing to the channel. So let's just dive right ahead and we'll come back with more commentary.
Y'all, I'm gonna explain why Cierra from Love Island was canceled and removed from the villa, because everyone's talking about her being racist, but no one is showing why. And what she did was actually disgusting. So it all started in 2015 when she posted herself smiling on top of a mountain and chose this caption using a very derogatory slur referencing the fact that when she smiles, her eyes get smaller. So some may say, oh, well, that was 2015, Well, no. So in February of 2023, it seems like she posted something derogatory using that word, because someone replied to that story in 2023 and Cierra says, I just got educated on the topic, immediately deleting. I never knew the history of the word, but will for sure never use it again. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, until 2024, when this story was uploaded to Cierra's Instagram. She's talking about her Botox. You can pause to read it, but she's saying that she's really expressive with her face, and sometimes she catches herself frowning. And then she says, I can also be a little, and says the C slur, which is derogatory to Asians, when she laughs or smiles. So she is getting a mini brow lift to open up her eyes, directly referencing that she is using this term in a way that basically means her eyes are small and she needs to fix them. Then in 2024, someone else calls her out saying, ooh, girl, that slur is super derogatory, and sends her the meaning of it. And she says, oh man, thankfully that's not how I used it. Acting like in 2023, someone didn't let her know that she was using a slur. Because this right here, 2023, someone let her know and she said she wouldn't use it again, and girls still doubled down. Now, there's even more to this, okay? Because, so, 2 years ago, Cierra got cheated on, okay? And her response to herself getting cheated on was going on to her Instagram story and basically letting everyone know that her boyfriend cheated on her with a man, and therefore outing her boyfriend at the time, because he hadn't come out yet. So other people are saying, what the absolute hell? Why are you outing a man? Other people say, oh, okay, well, she was getting cheated on, so she had the right to tell her story. But that is another thing that people are also talking about, putting her in even more controversy. Anyways, Cierra has officially gotten removed off of Love Island. They said that she had to leave due to personal reasons, but it's obvious that she was removed off of the show due to this controversy. Her parents just put out this statement basically saying that they love her and that she will, whatever, like, she doesn't deserve the hate no matter what she's done, and that she's gonna come out, and I'm sure she's gonna have, like, make some great statement. That's basically what they're saying, like, wait for her to talk about this, and she doesn't even know, like, she's gonna come out and find out, So obviously she's racist, like, no doubt about it, but I think it's really funny because when she, like, first got on Love Island, I remember people were like, oh my god, she's so liberal, like, our girl Cierra, like, I'm sure she has her politics down. And she also did make a video, like, a year ago talking about how she voted for Kamala. So I don't know, but people just thought she had great politics. And then this coming out, like, honestly, this kind of surprised me that, like, Yulissa didn't surprise me, but this coming from Cierra surprised me. Another thing that I think is, like, weird as hell is, like, this girl, Cierra, had been preparing to be on Love Island. Like, her friends threw her a Love Island themed birthday party a couple years ago or last year because she wanted to be on Love Island so bad. There's even, like, photos circulating of, like, her preparing to do, like, a Love Island confessional, and like this girl has been fiending to be on the show. So it's, like, actually outrageous for me that she literally, like, kept all these posts up, and she knew they were racist, but I guess she just didn't give an F. Like, it just blows my mind, because someone literally told her, like, girl, you are being racist. And she was still doubling down on it in 2024. Like, what? Also, like, I don't even really hear that term being used. Like, where did she come up? Like, where did she pick up this term from that she feels the need to use it so much? Because, like, it's not a term that, like, is very common. I don't know, weird as hell, but good riddance, she's gone.
Cierra and whoever was running her account really thought her old Instagram posts weren't going to come back and haunt her. And the internet said, oh, okay, bet. So let me get this straight. So in 23 and 24, she's just casually using racial slurs. Like, it's just a part of her vocabulary. And people even came out, like, with screenshots saying, like, yo, like, this is a racial slur, like, take this down. She's like, oh, I didn't know, bet. But then you continue to use it. Girl, my girl, you doubled down and then had the nerve to go on Love Island USA in 2025 and acting like it was a clean slate. Like, what? Ma'am, your digital footprint is a size 15 and men's boots at that. And you know what kills me is like you had time to like really study Love Island. You also had time to like literally clean slate everything, clean up your whole page, scrub everything. People forewarned you, multiple people by the way, that hey, like yo, you're using a racial slur, like this is not cool, and you left it up. So I'm not understand like how you had time to do literally anything but sit there and think like, no, nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna care. And now it's 2025 and you're getting ejected from the villa of public opinion, faster than you packed that little tiny water bottle, my girl. I know she is sick. You lost thousands of followers, you lost brand deals, and now you get to watch you get to watch Nick Olandria, my girl. You can't make this stuff up. Nick was really trying to act like he cared, and he was trying for like all of 2 seconds until Olandria came walking by, and he was like, oh, you know what? You know what? I did have my eye on Shawty. My man clicked his heels together at the recoupling. Cierra, that is not your man. And now you get to sit home and watch that man kiss Olandria in 4K. And you know what? You know what really is like so wild? It's like you didn't get exposed because you were messy in real time. You got exposed because the internet archives everything. It's giving congratulations. You played yourself. You really stood behind Taylor and then tried to give Olandria some weak ass apology. You really thought you had it in the bag. You played yourself so bad. And now you get to join Ulissa. So what do y'all think? Was it ignorance? Like it couldn't be ignorance because like people told you. Or like, I don't know, I just don't get it. Like, did you really think like the internet wasn't gonna go like look and see like who you really are? Like, I'm just not understanding because baby, Google is forever. The receipts are receipting, and once you put something out there, you better be able to stand on it. Cierra fumbled a whole Love Island bag. A whole, like she really had us fooled. Like, she really had us fooled. You fumbled. This might be the worst fumble in Love Island history. Like, this is very unfortunate, my girl. Baby, the Wi-Fi was strong, but the common sense was not. So I guess we gotta get ready to see the tearful apology coming soon. You guys let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments. Meet me there. Let's discuss it. As always, thank you for watching.
So this girl was warned back in 2015 by one of her followers, and the follower was just being nice to her and told her that the word that you're using is actually a racial slur in the Asian or targeting the Asian community. And the crazy part is that she was like, oh, sorry, I didn't know. Later, she still used the same word again. She was later warned and she just tried to justify herself. I don't know why she still wanted to go back ahead and use these words over on her post again. And now she's actually facing whatever she's facing because of the choices that she made, you know. I don't know if she has anything against the Asian community or what even led her to continue using this word even after being warned. Now it has caused her to be removed from the show. And not only that, even brand deals. I saw there is a brand deal that had sent a package to her and they did a video and they later had to like, you know, delete that video from her page because this brand, you know, one thing about when it comes to the United States of America and the cancel culture, it really works, and brands are always very careful out there. Even companies, they have to be very careful out there because they don't want to be cancelled, because when you're supporting racism and you still want people to support you, it's not gonna work. But she just made a choice and now she's actually facing the consequences of the choices that she made. So let's just continue. I would love you to tell me what you think about these. Are people being too harsh on her? Does she deserve what she's actually facing right now? Let me know.
Cierra Ortega barely finished her breakfast before the Love Island USA production pulled her and dumped her from the villa for her anti-Asian racist rhetoric that was found on her very carefully managed social media. Love Island moves fast, but the American internet moves faster. And that is in part due to the fact that last year's season 6 had a runaway success. So this year, from the jump, we had people looking at these contestants and watching the show very early on. Now, some might say this is a win against a particular form of anti-Asian hate that other communities have started to be more aware of since 2020. But we have to remember, Cierra was not pulled from Love Island because of her racist rhetoric, ultimately. And that brings up the question about why it matters that a game show, reality TV, and a game show contestant should be held responsible for the language that they use. With the world burning, why does that matter? Cierra wanted to be on the show for years. There's no crime in that. 3 years ago, she threw a Love Island birthday party, and when she came on as a bombshell, she was happy and she was ready to win. She was totally seeming to enjoy the process. She carefully played this game to a T, eliminating her friends' more threatening connections and also waiting until the midpoint to lock down Nick and give a more realistic, reasonable story for a connection. By doing this at the midpoint of the series, she avoided looking like a villain for axing her friends' connections and in settling down with Nick, right? Because the public, who ultimately gets to vote on their most favorite couple at the end of it and decides the winning couple, they're not going to believe a connection that locks in too quickly. When she had to choose between the much higher ranked TJ and Iris to keep them together, as opposed to Taylor and Clark, who were the least voted amongst the American people, she picked TJ and Iris. You think it was accidental to send a higher ranking couple home as opposed to a lower ranking couple? No. Originally, it was Ace who's considered the more obvious strategist. But eagle-eyed audiences have watched Cierra and who she talks to and where she sits as she is aware of the way people rise and fall among the American voting system for the villa. Your popularity in the villa, of course it matters, but you can't win without the American people crowning you. And everybody wanted to be the people's princess of this season. Cierra was one of the many people who was shocked that the often dismissed and bullied Amaya was actually the most favorite, that she had been crowned America's sweetheart. Cierra has maintained some goodwill in the last couple of weeks, but that plummeted when people realized that she had used an anti-Asian slur to describe her eyes, her looks, and a cosmetic procedure that she was getting to correct for that. She didn't say correct, it was heavily implied. The first time was in 2015, and then the more famous one is when she was talking about that cosmetic work she was doing that affected her eyes. And you guys already know this, we live in a society. Whether you're in the villa or outside the villa, we are all existing in a social context. That social context openly ranks women according to a white supremacist beauty metric. We take that metric and we say, oh, it's just our type. It's just a preference. A good sector of Asian Americans in this country have long been held up and weaponized to bludgeon other immigrants or the descendants of enslaved people or African American communities that were historically and continually economically and physically oppressed. The model minority myth not only obscures the historical violence, economic oppression, and attacks that various Asian American communities have faced over the years, it obscures an ongoing current poverty issue that has happened due to racist policies and anti-immigration policies that tend to affect as well Asian Americans. What does it also hide? Oh, the fact that Asian American women are continually fetishized, stereotyped, and abused through socially accepted sexual scripts that are still being passed down by American men. It ignores the way we have normalized the violence that occurred against Vietnamese and Korean people by American soldiers. For all the progress that white supremacy gave Asian American communities at the expense of African Americans, there are still people that are disposable. Disposable by people who still hold on to racist fears and ideas that are kept alive by the language we use. Language that demeans or dehumanizes a particular group of people, especially by using physical characteristics, is language that creates a context in which more harm can happen. Asian American women are not targeted with sexual violence or physical violence on a whim. That happens because we are in a culture that has decided that they are less than. When Cierra used that slur to describe even her own self and her eyes, it was unequivocally anti-Asian. It is not anyone else's place but Asian Americans to determine if a slur about their physical features or their genetic history and lineage is offensive, especially when it is a particular old slur with a long history. This is not the time to say, well, I don't feel any type of way about it, so I can brush it under the rug for you. Let us be aware that this controversy brewed for several days, and it was you who ultimately said this is the kind of language that needs to be addressed and dealt with, and we can't just go on as usual. Production has not magically figured out a way to represent Asians, protect Asians, or Black people on this show, because they didn't dig very deep when they were casting people. How do you think easily discoverable Andrew Tate followers and MAGA people were able to get on this show in the first place? This show yanks people when it's time to protect brand image and the brands who have products on this show. They gotta protect the people who keep all those neon lights on. Brands don't want any discussion of anti-Asian rhetoric around their product placement. An internal source, allegedly to the US Sun, talked about how the production crew was furious. The individual people working on the show were really disappointed. They said, behavior is unacceptable, crew's unhappy, we have to have a crisis meeting about this. Pulling her from the show was not immediately the first thing they thought of doing. And we, the American diverse people, we've got to protect ourselves. We have to remember that division amongst people of color does not equal community strength or cohesion for our own groups. We are most weak and vulnerable to white supremacy when we forget that interlocking forms of white supremacy form a hierarchy that we shouldn't be trying to rank ourselves on, but we should be trying to abolish altogether. No one is going to say that the sexual violence and the economic violence and the physical violence has the same origin points or the same story and everyone's experience is the same. That's just not true. But the justification for the racism we all face, it has a common root. This racist justification that our bodies are something to be ashamed of, that our bodies are made in such a way that they don't warrant respect. We can remain kind and firm and call each other into a safer, better, more inclusive community. Because it doesn't matter how long certain slurs or vocabulary has been normalized or been around in our communities. Dump it.
Yeah, guys, as you've seen, people have gone as far as back as 2015 and 2023 on her Instagram stories and the language that she actually used to describe her appearance after Botox, and even as people had warned her, and she responded to the fan who actually told her of what this meant. She was like, oh, thanks God I didn't use it like that. You know, it's just like when you go on ahead and use the N-word when you're not even a black person, because I see people getting angry that Black Americans are, you know, like monetizing the N-word, but when other people use it, they wanna crucify us. Of course, you're not gonna use racial slurs on a person when, especially you're not even from that community, and expect not to face any consequences. So these are the consequences that she faced, and she had to exit at the show, and they announced that she was leaving the show for personal situation, while in reality, producers took action after posts were publicly showed to the people and people were complaining about this. And later, her parents actually took accountability, acknowledging the seriousness, asking for compassion while emphasizing accountability. She also later issued a video apology to the Asian community, admitting ignorance but accepting responsibility. You see, she admitted she was ignorant, and when it comes to such cases, you're only ignorant because you want to be ignorant. It's not because you don't know, because people warned her, not even one, not two people. They told her about these, and she was like, still continued using this word, even after people telling her, even people that cared about her and people were actually supporting her. They warned her, but she still went on ahead and did it. And now she's no longer in the show. She's lost some brand deals that I've seen that have, you know, said we don't want to be in the mix of this drama. And not only that, she's lost around 200,000 followers and faced petition demanding her removal, and that's I think how she was removed. And her family is also now receiving threats, including claims that ICE was contacted because she's from the Hispanic community. You see, I always say that choices always have consequences. You're not just gonna sit there, use racial slurs towards or against a certain community or a group of people and expect not to face consequences just because you think Black people would monetize or use the N-word. You think it's okay for you to do that and you can use that. And the saddest part about this is actually I've seen someone from the Hispanic community, a woman and also a man, who are trying to justify why people should not face consequences because of using racial slurs. You know, because they're like, why do Black Americans use it? And when we do, it's a problem. This one was actually trying to justify that woman, Shiloh Hendrick, that was facing a huge backlash after using the N-words to a 5-year-old child, that she should not be facing the consequences that she was facing because Black people use it. Can you imagine even a woman sitting down, creating a video for social media and trying to justify as to why a grown-up woman should use N-words towards a baby, a kid, a 5 years old, a grown-up woman who even have kids. It's crazy. I don't even know what people sometimes create these videos thinking of, how you just sit down and come up with some things and think that this would be great for me to post on my TikTok account or on my social media handles, and expect that whatever you say, you'll not face any consequences. Or maybe so many of you are lost in the, America, the land of freedom and free speech, and you just, yes, it's a country of free speech. It's a land of free speech, a land of freedom. But just remember that free speech has a limit. And also, every choices that you make of your free speech and whatever you want to come online and say, there are consequences. And this is going to be a lesson to so many people, because you're going to respect people out there, either Asian, either black, either white. You have to respect people. And this is why this will keep on happening until people learn to protect each and every other community. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching up to this part. And until the next episode, make sure not to use racial slurs, pretending that you don't know, or just coming and saying that you're ignorant and you didn't know out here. If you don't know what's the meaning of a certain word, don't go on ahead and use it. Don't try to indulge yourself in other people's culture when you don't really understand it. Don't try to come and pick other people's languages or words and start using them when you don't understand it, because you might be finding yourself in such a situation. Make sure to subscribe, give this video a like, share with your friends and loved ones so that they all learn not to use racial slurs or words that they don't understand the meaning of it. Thank you so much. See you on the next episode.